Welcome to Accent on Education. My name is Laura Hoover, and I am the Culpeper County Public Schools Director of Communication. We have a great show for you today that starts off with the Culpeper County Public Schools Director of Transportation, Stephen Bagley, who will be sharing a lot of great things about the Transportation Department, including how you can join our team. Also, we have a feature of the Little Magic Miniature Horse Therapy Team visiting Farmington Elementary. And also today, we will kick off a new series called The Shining Stars of CCPS, where our Executive Director of Human Resources, Michelle Metzgar, will interview our Classified Employee of the Year, Dr. Cara Capellini, to hear the story of one of our wonderful Culpeper County Public Schools employees. Joining us today on Accent is the Culpeper County Public Schools Director of Transportation, Stephen Bagley. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here today.
It's good to.
I thought it was a good time to have you here on the show because it's National School Bus Safety Week.
That is correct.
So tell me, what do we do in Culpeper County for National School Bus Safety Week?
Well, National Safety Week, we look at all of our safety practices. Also, it is a time where the schools recognize the bus drivers and the aides, as well as many of the parents recognize them to say thank you for the effort that they put forth to bring their children safely to and from school during the week.
Awesome. That's great,
Yes.
because we couldn't have school without them.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
Exactly.
Are there any special events planned for the drivers this week?
Well, some of the schools are offering them T-shirts, shirts, or meals. We and transportation are offering the pizza party on Friday to say thank you to them as well.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, great. We also will be capturing some of it on
Yes.
our new social media
That is
feature,
correct.
Transportation
Tuesdays.
Tuesday.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, very good. Well, a couple of other things I thought would be good to tell the community about or remind them is that we have something here in Culpeper County Public Schools called Bus Patrol.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about Bus Patrol. What is that?
Well, Bus Patrol is a company that we are using to assist us with the stop violations. When our buses turn on their yellow lights, it means slow down. And when they turn on their red lights, please stop, because we have vulnerable children walking to and from the bus. And previous to, we had a lot of problems, people passing the buses. And so Bus Patrol is a company that has been used throughout the state of Virginia and other states that helps us to track those people. And they, citations are issued for $250 per person.
So you're telling me that people drive past a stopped school bus?
Yes, ma'am. Often.
Wow.
We have that often. The numbers are going down, but we still have them happening every day.
Okay, so if somebody were to receive a ticket in the mail that they have passed the bus, because that's how it works,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. That's correct.
What do? Do they call us? Do they call Culpeper County Public Schools?
Actually, at the bottom of their citation, I believe it's on the bottom left-hand corner, there's a website that you go to for Bus Patrol. As also, they have a phone number there that they can contact Bus Patrol, and it's going to ask them for the citation number that's on the citation. If they put that in, they can either pay it electronically there, and if they decide they want to challenge it and go to court here locally, they also can put that information on there as well.
Okay, so are the citations issued automatically, or are they reviewed before they're sent out?
They're reviewed by Culpeper County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
Yes,
All
so
right.
we have nothing to do with that at all.
And if somebody wanted additional information about Bus Patrol, is there anywhere on our website they could look?
Yes, right on the homepage, it's on the Bus Patrol is there. I think
All
it's on the
right.
School Bus Safety, I believe is what it's called.
Excellent. Another feature that you've rolled out in the Transportation Department in the last couple of years is Stop Finder. Stop Finder is a tool for parents
That's correct.
to know where the bus is. How's the implementation of Stop Finder going?
Well, we sent it out this year at the beginning of September for all grade levels. And what it does, it goes to the primary point of contact. And the primary point of contact accepts the invitation. Once they accept the invitation, then they're able to go in and set up perimeters, whether it's mileage or distance or time from their house to tell them, so that we get an alert on their app that tells them exactly when the bus is arriving.
Okay, and one thing that's a hot topic in transportation right now is when the bus is arriving in the afternoon, and no one's there. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that creates a challenge for us. Usually in the afternoon, we give you on the route sheet approximate time that we're going to dismiss the student from the school and arrive. On our website, each school updates each afternoon what time the actual bus left the school building, and then they're on their way home. What happens is when the parents are getting there, if they're grades 3 and below, someone has to be there for them to get off the bus. If they're not there to get off the bus, then we either have to return the student back to the school, or we continue on with the route and try to make another attempt. A lot of times what happens is that no one is there. And so we have to bring them back to school, which puts additional burdens on the school to try to get in touch with parents as well as my staff to get them turned around.
Okay, so for parents waiting for the bus, they have Stop Finder
Yes.
or the dismissal sheet on the website. They can keep track.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Well, you guys have a lot of tools out there for people to use.
Well, we're trying to make it better for the parents to know exactly where their children are and what's going on with them.
If somebody has questions about how to use these tools effectively, what's the best thing for them to do?
They can call our office, or they also can email us at transportation@ccpsweb.org.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, another topic, since I have you here
Yes.
today, you hear in the news a lot, locally and nationally, about a bus driver shortage.
That is correct.
How are we doing in Culpeper County?
Just as everyone else, we are short drivers, which requires my office staff to get out of the office and be on buses both mornings and afternoons. We do hear some complaints about parents calling and said they can't get in touch with anybody in the office, but we are slimmed down doing the morning arrival and afternoon dismissal. So we are short here in Culpeper, but we are working through the challenges to meet. And as you know, Culpeper is growing every single day, which calls us to make changes to routes, and we try to let the parents know it as early as possible. If we do have buses running late, we do send out robocalls to the parents to let them know. And if you're not getting the robocalls, please check in with your local school to make sure your information is correct on the website.
Great. So I've heard about an awesome signing bonus if somebody wants to come and drive a bus for us. Tell me about that.
Yes, that is correct. We do have a $1,000 signing bonus for any new driver that's coming to us to drive for us in Culpeper.
That's awesome.
$1,000.
So do they have to complete the school year? How does that work?
What we do is it is paid training. So we do train them for both aides and bus drivers, but bus drivers in specifically, they have to do 24 hours of classroom. They have to do 14 hours driving behind the wheel without any students on, 10 hours with students on board, get their license. And then after they have gone a period of time without having any accidents or any issues, then they were eligible to get their bonus.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, that's great. Now, I also heard that if I refer someone to be a bus driver as a CCPS employee, I can get $1,000?
That is correct. For CCPS employees, yes, they are authorized to get a bonus if you notified us when you came in, yes.
All right. Well, you've heard it here. Everyone working for Culpeper County Public Schools should be out there recruiting bus drivers, because that's $1,000 for you and $1,000 for them.
Yes.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the community about Culpeper County Public Schools transportation?
Well, we are paying a good salary for our drivers. We start them off at $22.15 an hour.
Okay.
And that's with full benefits. So, and our aides are $16.95 an hour. That's how much they're making an hour.
Okay, so we're hiring bus drivers and
aides.
bus
That is correct.
aides.
That is correct.
Okay. So a bus aide would not have to go through the training for the
They
CDL.
go through a portion of the training, but they would not have to go through the CDL portion of it. But we do have some people that start off as aides that want to go on and continue on into becoming bus drivers. So there is a route for those that feel that they need a little extra time.
Okay, and are buses the only vehicles that we hire drivers for?
We also have vans that we transport students in as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Well, lots of ways for folks to become a part of the
Yes, come join
transportation
this
department.
team.
Thank you, Stephen Bagley, for joining us on the show today. Next up, Michelle Metzgar will interview Dr. Cara Capellini, our Classified Employee of the Year. But before that, check out some hands-on learning at Farmington Elementary.
Oh, we have the Little Magic miniature horses here today. They are certified companion animals and therapy animals, and we have them meeting with some of our students to give them an opportunity to interact and have some fun.
It's great to see our kids get up and get close and brush them and start to feel comfortable with them. Andrew, one of our little ones over there, was afraid, but now he's brushing a horse, so that's really nice to see.
But I noticed they will talk a little bit to the horse.
Yes.
Not the people necessarily.
And this
oh
one
my
is
gosh!
decorating the
And she's
mane.
decorating the mane.
Putting flowers.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
And
it's
she is loving it. It's so cute.
It's nice to see them kind of relax and see the students just in a different light than in the classroom.
I think it is an amazing hands-on experience that the kids get to do, and they come out a little timid, a little shy, a little scared, and then they warm up instantly, and you see them attached to their ponies. They don't even want to visit other ponies because each one's become their little pet.
And I noticed when they came out, they weren't talking, very kind of hiding behind their teacher. But now they're putting ribbons
Yes,
in their
every single one of them is away from
and-
their teacher's hand or grip, and they are just warmed up and loving it.
And they have little things they can put in their mane and little hats.
Hi, my name is Michelle Metzgar. I'm the Executive Director of Human Resources for Culpeper County Public Schools. We are starting a new segment and we are honoring all of our employees of the year. So today we have the pleasure of working with Dr. Cara Capellini. She is our Classified Employee of the Year and she currently works at Yale Elementary as a speech pathologist. So Cara, tell us first of all, what does a speech pathologist do?
So a speech pathologist works with students with articulation, so sound disorders, receptive language, which is the language that you understand, expressive language disorders, which is the language that you use, fluency, which is stuttering disorders, and pragmatics, which is the social use of language. At Yale, I work with students in pre-kindergarten to 5th grade, as well as students that are 3 and 4 years old that are not yet enrolled in the public school system, but are eligible for services. And that's something very important that I think people need to know, that the school system will provide services for developmental delays or speech language pathology starting at age 2. So if your child is 2 at the start of the school year, so it would be September 30th of this year, they are eligible for those services by contacting the Office of Special Ed.
Excellent, good to know. So if people don't know about the service and they want their child to be in the program, they can call special ed.
Right. If they have any concern, they can contact and they can do a screening or a child study for that student, and they might be eligible for services within the school system.
Perfect. So obviously you have a doctorate. Tell us about your education. It must have taken you a long time to get where you're at.
So that is an interesting story. So I was accepted by James Madison University for my undergraduate, and I entered as a student under the major of social work. However, when I went to orientation, I toured the speech and language lab and fell in love with speech pathology. I was very interested in the thought of working with small groups of students and targeting specific skills. So I switched my major and I switched over to speech pathology. Now my freshman year, first semester, I contracted pneumonia and I was hospitalized for 5 days and I missed essentially a little over 2 weeks of school. My professors decided that I would finish up that first semester when I started the spring semester, which proved to be very difficult. I do not recommend that. And my grades suffered. It was too hard to do all of that at once. At that time, the regulations had changed and you could no longer work with just a bachelor's degree for speech pathology. And they wanted everyone to get a master's no matter what setting you were working in, whether it was the schools or nursing homes or the hospitals. They wanted everyone to have a master's. So I had to apply for a master's program. When I applied, I didn't get in. So, in fact, one of the schools that I applied to, I interviewed with, and the director said that I needed to choose a new career path, that I would never get into a graduate program with my GPA. And I was devastated because that was what I wanted to do. But I managed to pull myself together and decided that I would become a reading specialist, because there's a lot of similarities between the two fields. Speech pathology is the oral use and understanding of language, where reading is the written understanding and being able to read language. I found a program in New Jersey that was still accepting students for a master's degree in reading, so I applied for it and I was accepted. I moved up to Pennsylvania to live with my brother to save money. And where I was, it was just across the border. And in Pennsylvania, early intervention is divided into intermediate units. And I found a part-time job with Bucks County Intermediate Unit 22. They were piloting an autism inclusive preschool program, which was pretty new at that time, with a local daycare. And I would provide the services for the students that were there, as well as coordinate the therapies that were coming in and give them any feedback about what was and wasn't working. In doing that, one of the teachers asked me my background, and I told her I didn't get in, and she said, apply again. And like, that had never crossed my mind, because I pretty much had taken what that professor had told me as, you can't do this. So I applied the next year, and I didn't get in. She said, apply again. And so the next year I figured that was, if it happened, it was going to happen. If not, it just wasn't meant to be. So I applied to 10 schools, and I got into 7. I still didn't get into the one that the professor said I wouldn't get into. But the first school that accepted me was UVA. And I was beyond ecstatic to be returning back to Virginia, and just that someone believed in, like they thought I could do it. So I have always felt that those 2 moments have been very defining in my life. I have the person who says you can't, and I have the person who says you can. And it's been 27 years, but I still remember how he made me feel. And I think about that when I'm working with children, because they have to come to me, and they are coming to me because it's something that they can't do. And your words matter. Your words matter when you're talking to them. Your words matter in talking with colleagues, with your own children, with your administrators. And that has always been something that has kind of stuck with me, that I had someone who said you can't, and someone that says you can. And how powerful it was when she said to me, I think you can. Other things I learned from that are that I don't think that grades, I have a hard time with grades defining a person, any type of numeric defining a person, because I think that we all have strengths and weaknesses that can't be quantitatively defined by a test, by a standardized measure, especially with our severe and profound students. Always looking for those ways of what is it that they can do, because that number doesn't define us. I think it's important to surround yourself with people that will support you. And I have a husband that has supported me in all of my crazy dreams, including getting my doctorate, which after I graduated from UVA, I continued on. It took me 10 years to get my doctorate. I worked full time, and I gave birth to 3 children.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how
and
you did
I would
That's
have
a
not,
huge accomplishment.
I would not have been able to do it without his support and his help, and the support of my family and friends and my administrators at that time, because they knew I was doing all of that at once. And then I always think back that you don't always have a linear path to a goal, that sometimes that you might have these hiccups along the way, but you have to face those hiccups head on. And that working hard towards something isn't a bad thing. And I see that also with our students in our multiple disabilities room, that will write a goal, and then we have to write steps on how we're going to reach that goal, and to celebrate those small accomplishments as well as we're trying to get to that major goal.
Well, I will tell you, when Mrs. Fiscus, your principal, called me and let me know that you had won And she was so excited because she admires your passion, especially for the early intervention. And she was, I mean, just through the moon that you won. Do you remember, how did you feel at the meeting when they announced as Culpeper County Schools?
Well, so I do have to say that I was against one of the other, I have to say that one of the other people that I was nominated with was my very good friend Candace Rinker, who is also a speech pathologist. And it was very hard for us to be up against each other because she is amazing in her own right. And she deserved it just as much as I did. I've known Candace for over 20 years. And in fact, our entire speech team is amazing. We have a very strong speech team here in Culpeper, and I'm very blessed to work with them.
Well, it says a lot about the fact that 2 speech pathologists won in the same year. So the work that you're doing is so important with our kids. Tell me a little bit about YAL. What do you love about YAL? You were at Sycamore Park when you started.
Yes.
And you moved over to YAL.
Yes.
And you've been at YAL how many years now?
So I was at Sycamore Park for 12 years, and this will be my 9th year at YAL. And love Sycamore Park. Nothing, Sycamore Park has my heart. I started out there. I was super excited to start there. But I felt after 12 years, I was starting to get burnt out, and I just needed a change, and moved over to YAL. That was interesting because I went from having none of my children with me to suddenly having all 3 of them with me. That I do not recommend that either. That was really hard. So what I love about YAL is we have an amazing staff. Our administrators, Mrs. Fiskus, Mrs. Ward, now Mr. Slezak, are incredibly supportive. And it's a fun and loving place to work. Not only our teachers, our paras, our custodians, they have amazing connections with our students within the entire school.
That's so nice to hear. So you said you're from Culpeper.
I am not from
Where
Culpeper.
are you from
No,
originally?
I am not from Culpeper. No, my dad was in the Air Force. So we moved around. So growing up, I lived in Florida, Arizona. My dad was stationed in Germany twice, South Carolina. And then for high school, he was stationed at Langley Air Force Base. So I graduated from Tabb High School. And then went to James Madison. That's where I met my husband. And then we went to grad school. Now, my husband's from Westchester County, New York. So outside of the city. His dad worked in Manhattan. He had done jobs over the summer in Manhattan. In fact, he went to, his master's was at John Jay, which is a CUNY school. It's in New York City. I was still finishing up at UVA for my master's. He had a job, I think it was in Northern Virginia, and he looked at a map of Virginia and decided we would move to Orange. Like, he was like, that is right in the middle. We will move to Orange. We had started coming up here to do like grocery shopping, and we loved the neat little shops and the restaurants, and they had just started building Lakeview. So we went over to Lakeview, and we decided that we were going to build a house in Lakeview, and we signed our papers. It was December 31st, 2002. Happy New Year's.
Yes.
Within 3 months, we couldn't afford our house because that's when all of the prices
was crazy.
Yeah, the prices skyrocketed. So we were very fortunate. We were able to get in at that time. We loved it so much that my brother ended up following me out here from Pennsylvania. So my brother's 8 years older than I am, so he moved out. So his daughter started 5th grade at AG, and she went through the Culpeper school system. And then I have 2 nephews who are in their 30s, and one of them is a teacher at CCHS.
Who is?
Alex Michelle.
Okay, Alex Michelle. We know Alex.
So it's interesting because now I have all this family out here, which I never had growing up as a military brat. But now that I have this here, it's just really nice.
So you have 3 kids. Tell me about your kids. Tell their names. Tell them about them.
So I have 3 boys, Braden, Baylor, and Beckett. So Braden is 19. He just graduated last year from Eastern View. He is a freshman at East Carolina University. I have Baylor, 17. He is a senior at Eastern View. And I have Beckett, who's 15, who is a sophomore at Eastern View.
And so you were busy with a lot of activities.
Oh, a lot of sports. I've spent a lot of time on the sidelines or in stadiums or traveling. My husband coached travel soccer. So that has been a lot of our time, but it's been nice. And all three of them went through Yale, and they went to Culpeper Middle School, and then we're that little pocket on the left side of 522. So we go to Eastern View.
So you've talked a little bit about a lot about your passion for what you do at school. What's the best part of your day, and what's the hardest part of your day?
My best part of the day is seeing kids. I love working with children, love it. The worst part of my day is paperwork and filing. I am horrendous at filing. Actually, if you could put in the budget, I need a personal assistant. If someone could help me, just for filing, that would be amazing. The paperwork, the amount of paperwork flying in and out of my office is it's sometimes really hard to keep up on all of it. But I love working with kids. I love seeing them make progress. I love seeing them being excited. My favorite type of child to work with is like a 3-year-old that maybe has 10 words and like getting them to be able to communicate with their family.
Right.
Like that's my favorite type of child.
Well, if you were, which you kind of are, you already have family that moved here. If you're recruiting somebody, why should somebody come work for Culpeper?
Well, of course, I'm biased because I work here and my kids went through, so I have to say it's amazing. And especially for speech, I mean, we have just a really strong speech team. And we need help. We do need help in the area of speech and language with our caseload numbers and things like that. And it has been very nice with our new director of special education that she recognized that right away when she came in.
She has,
and
for sure.
And to help us try to get those caseload numbers down.
Thanks again to Dr. Cara Capellini, our speech pathologist from Yale Elementary and our classified employee of the year. Tune in again. Watch us on Accent for Education. This is a new segment for us, so hopefully you'll join us again.